Hi everybody! I hope you're all having a good day. In this following tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you on how to set up VR prop tracking inside of VNyan. Now, before we get started, there are some things that we need in order to proceed with this tutorial. First and foremost, you need to make sure to have VNyan installed in your PC. This tutorial will not work with any other programs such as VCFace, Warudo, and Luppet, or any other program. Unless specified otherwise, they will not work. This tutorial is exclusive to VNyan. Now the next thing is, this is basically depends on your preference. So there is a paid version of doing this, and then there's actually a free version of doing this. Now, the paid version is VirtualMotionCapture. If you already have the paid version of VirtualMotionCapture, you're good to go. Otherwise, you can pay for it for just $3 on their Patreon or Fanbox. It's in the description below. Now, if you want a free version, like you don't have the paid version of VirtualMotionCapture and you want a free alternative to doing the same thing, there is SlimeVR. Now, in case you're wondering, no, SlimeVR is not exclusive to the SlimeVR trackers. In fact, they can actually work with other tracking solutions such as Joy-Cons. It can detect your head mount. It can detect other trackers basically via SteamVR. So definitely keep that in mind when using SlimeVR. It's a pretty amazing program, and it's open source too, in case you're into that. But that is the free version. Now, and last but not least, you are required to have any sort of VR related tracker, like actual hardware trackers. This could be, of course, Joy-Cons from your Nintendo Switch. This could be your old Oculus CV1, or any sort of like VR hand controller that's detectable in SteamVR. Even your head mount can be a tracker, mainly with SlimeVR, but of course should work with VirtualMotionCapture. And any sort of extra VR trackers, basically anything VR related that can be detected via SteamVR, you can get it to work inside with VNyan and make it into a prop tracker. And I'll show you how to do that for both programs. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the paid method of doing prop tracking with VNyan. So, in order to basically get your VR tracking working, you need to make sure that SteamVR is downloaded. And once you have SteamVR downloaded, you should have the paid version of VirtualMotionCapture readied up. It doesn't really matter which version you have, as long as there is VMC sending to it. Now you may be wondering why my character is in a weird position. It's actually because when it comes to the prop tracking, for my case, I have a Rift CV1 solution, but I don't want to use my headset. Of course, in SteamVR, you can actually edit the code to make it where the headset right here is not detected, but I won't be covering that as I don't know how to do that. But instead, I will be demonstrating with my left controller on the prop tracking. So basically on VirtualMotionCapture, it will be controlling the avatar in here, but basically the VMC data we're sending from the character here from VirtualMotionCapture, it will be detected on it will be actually detected on VNyan. That way, this will be turned into a prop tracker rather than overriding our character tracking in VNyan, if that makes sense. I'll show you how to do that, of course. Now, make sure to have the calibration set already set up. It should be a couple seconds to set up. And besides that, though, once you have your calibration set up, you're going to go into settings. And again, it doesn't matter what avatar you have. You just need to have at least the hand tracking working like this to become your prop tracker. Now, basically, once you have that going, you're going to go into your VMC protocol sender. If this is locked for you, it's probably because you have the free version, which the free version of VirtualMotionCapture does not allow sending, so please make sure to purchase for $3 in order to utilize this. So, now I personally prefer, so since this is the sender right here, I personally prefer to use the port number 39540, because that is what personally works for me, but you can change this to any other port number basically. Once you have that, just press on apply. And once you press on apply, the motion should be sending. Now you're going to go into VNyan, and as you can see, my character is sort of sleeping right now. But basically, you're going to go into your settings and go to general settings basically. And once you go to your general settings, please choose a receiver port right here that will have the same number as virtual motion capture. For my case, I have 39540 right here. And I make sure that pretty much all of this is set to 1 except the last two, but that's just an extra. For blend shape tracking, you could set to don't track or replace, whichever one is your preference basically. And right here, this is basically what we want, the VMC tracker mapping. This is so that way we can be able to name out what tracker we want to turn into prop tracking. So let's go ahead and select on tracker 1. For my case, it is connecting to my left controller right here. How do you get this name? This is how you'll get it. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into virtual motion capture, and basically you're going to go over here to open tracker assignment settings. Once you have that, it should actually tell you the name of your trackers right here. You're going to copy whatever is in the parentheses. This can also include your head mount as well. Whichever you want to become your prop tracker, copy the name out. Unfortunately, we cannot click and drag the name, so you're going to have to manually type it in here. And once you manually type out the name of the tracker right here, what you're going to then do, once it's mapped out, and of course just to also show you, I have my right controller mapped here as well, as you can see, right tracker. Once you have that, you're going to then go into props. And you're going to choose a prop of your choice on what you want to become tracked. I'm going to use this green blob that Vtuber made just to demonstrate. Make sure that this prop is being shown, and then you're going to go to linked bone and select on tracker 1, or any other tracker that you have. So basically, when you zoom out, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on my tracking real quick. Hello? Then I will raise my hand, and as you can see, the prop tracking is actually working. This can be pretty good if you want to track your chair or track your microphone or anything like that. So it's pretty nice, basically. And make sure also, if you're using a solution that requires base stations, make sure that your trackers are in a good range between the base stations as well as your plate or your area basically, so it's detected by the cameras. Otherwise, if your solution does not rely on a base station, you should be fine to put them anywhere basically. But this is basically how you can do it, and yeah, that's pretty much the paid version. Now let's go over how we're going to do it with SlimeVR. Alright, so let's go over the free version of how we can achieve this. Now for SlimeVR, it is a bit different, as you're going to need to make sure to download the SlimeVR program, which is a SlimeVR server, as well as making sure that the SlimeVR feeder app is also active. If you close this, this will not work and you'll probably have a lot of issues. So basically with the feeder app, it will let you know if any of your trackers are being detected. If you don't see any of your trackers being detected, please contact SlimeVR support or the devs, and they will gladly help you out on getting this sorted. But once you have the SlimeVR feeder app installed and making sure that it is working and detected, as you can see here, then you're going to go into the SlimeVR program. Of course, if by any chance you have issues with opening the program or if it's stuck on an error, please reinstall SlimeVR and it should be able to work for you. Otherwise, contact the SlimeVR development team. But once you have SlimeVR going on, you should be able to see your tracking, like basically whatever's input into SteamVR, basically. Now, I will warn you a heads up, if you have an actual SlimeVR tracker, you will not be able to track the position of those trackers. They're only rotation supported. However, with SlimeVR, you can actually track, let's say, your Oculus hand controllers, your, hopefully your Valve Index or your Vive trackers and all that. It should be able to be detected via SteamVR with SlimeVR. Otherwise, if it doesn't, contact the devs, they'll help you out. And of course, if you have Nintendo Switch little Joy-Cons, they work also as well. They're supported. But if you get an error where it says recommended to perform a full reset, all you have to do is select one of your trackers, and then you're going to click on full reset. Make sure that your tracker is in the air, or like if your tracker relies on base stations, make sure it's visible with the base stations. Otherwise, just simply reset if they're Wi-Fi based. So let's go ahead and reset and make sure that is being seen. Now it's able to be seen, so now we're going to go back to home, and of course the error should be gone. Otherwise, if you have if by any chance you have any other issues, You can try resetting them again, or again, SlimeVR Discord server, which I'll leave in the description. And I apologize for repeating contact SlimeVR support team. Just wanted to make sure that it is clear. I apologize in advance. But anyways, once you have this going for you, basically, you're going to go, you don't have to do tracker assignment unless otherwise you want to do it for your body, but we don't need this for prop tracking. All we need is to go into settings, basically. The rest, if you want to set them up, you can. Otherwise, just go to settings here. And basically, we're going to go down to VMC. You're going to make sure that this is enabled, and please make sure that the feeder app also sees your trackers as well, and of course here. And then you're going to put, for me personally, I change the numbers, but the default should work fine. But this is a port number I put in. It's 39999, and then port out is 39540. If you want to copy those numbers, you can. Otherwise, try out different numbers. It might work out for you. And once you have that, pretty much, you don't have to load in a VRM file. If you want to, you can if it helps. I loaded my test cham model, but you don't have to. It should be able to send now. So when you go into VNyan, you should be able to see the tracking working. And in case you're wondering why my tracker is not properly moving, it's actually because my headset right here is falling asleep. Because, again, I kind of left the headset on and with a microfiber cloth to pretend my head is still there, but it's asleep. So realistically, it will have the actual positioning, but you can see how it's still working though. I'm gonna quickly go ahead and reset my headset so you can actually see what I mean in terms of doing positioning. Alright, so now as you can see, my headset is back to normal, and now the prop tracking should work. And of course, if you have another controller as well, you can also do the same thing as well, and you can do some cool stuff with it, basically. Again, this should work with any other prop that you make yourself, such as a chair, or it could be just anything really. But do keep in mind of the sub, you might have to do some crazy stuff depending on preference. But otherwise, this should pretty much this should be how you should do prop tracking. This is a free method basically. And yeah, if you have any other questions regarding how to do the whole setup, and again, I will also say for SlimeVR, it's the same exact method because I was about to forget this. So if by any chance, you know, for the SlimeVR, if you're using that method, it's still the same method, you know, putting in the exact same, you know, your serial number for the actual tracker device. And if you're wondering where the number or the serial number is on SlimeVR, it's actually located in home. Just select one of the trackers you want, and the number is right here under firmware version. Just type in that exact number and it should also be detected in VNyan. But yeah, pretty much that's pretty much it on how to do prop tracking inside of VNyan. If you have any other questions, by all means go ahead and ask. Of course, if by any chance you don't have VR trackers at all, there are of course ways to sort of, you know, fake the whole prop tracking. Like for instance, you can have like another prop and it'll be linked to your bones. But otherwise, if you really want to have actual prop tracking via VR trackers, this is pretty much how you do it. If you have any other questions, please go ahead and comment, or if you have any other suggestions for a tutorial, then please also comment, or you could join my Discord server as I revamped my Discord server, and you can ask for any questions regarding how to do some 3D stuff basically. I'll also be leaving some resources in the description for where you can get the programs, or if you need some more assistance, they should be in the description if you need that. Otherwise though, I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!